Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. Let's get right into this one. I wanted to showcase some news articles just from today so you can get a better idea of where we're heading. I usually show our website that we built that collects all of that information, but CPI was just reported and it looks like inflation slightly went down, but over the next month or two, then they fix that up. But let's take a look at what's happening in the news today. Let me share with you where I want to start here. Let's start with Realtor.com, even though I had a Wall Street Journal. Mortgage, I'm going to start with this Realtor.com article, and mortgage rates predicted to rise before settling back to 6.5 next year. So, Realtor.com collects a lot of great data. And so, with that data on top of, and I don't know if you know this, but the Wall Street Journal owns Realtor.com. They get a lot of this data and they go take it through their analysts. One of them is Danielle. She does a great job. That's Danielle. And I wanted to show you this specifically before I move on. These are the mortgage rates projected to rise further before easing. So they're saying it could go up to 6.75, 6.8, 6.9, hitting closer to 7. I think the uncertainty of everything that's happening right now with our government and going to war and different situations is really causing this to go up and rise. And so if we go back to pre-Iran war, the rates were dipping into the fives, which was nuts. So I think they are banking on this war being over by then and then going back down to 6.5. That's my first thought on it. But if we take a look at the Wall Street Journal reporting today, let's see what we got. Lisa, Detroit, Michigan, La Palma, California, Fullerton, California. What's up, Angie? Simon, nice to see you on here. Let's go to the Wall Street Journal reporting today. Inflation was 3.4% in July, down slightly the previous month, and not by a lot. Like literally, let's go take a look how much is tiny. There it is. The inflation rate cooled to 3.4% in July, and in June, it was at 3.5. Now, you're asking, why the hell does that matter, Tristan? Well, listen, as inflation goes up, and I have a really simple, awesome, amazing article. So I want you to take a picture of it and then just read it. It's going to explain to you CPI in like three tiny, tiny little paragraphs. And it gives you a better idea of what happens as inflation goes up or down. It creates a problem for the Fed to say, well, what do we do with our rate? Because our rate will determine, is it easier to loan? Is it easier to give out credit? And so that creates then a problem because the mortgage world looks ahead, right? They look ahead and they're like, oh, I wonder what they're going to do based on everything that we see. Should we drop or raise rates, mortgage rates from that? So I know it's connected to the 10-year Treasury, but let's take a look at this. July home sales fell after higher mortgage rates scared off buyers. And what we're going to see, because look at where we're at, we're heading into outside of these snowbird destinations, right? Like Florida, possibly parts of Arizona. Outside of those areas, we're looking at a seasonal type of situation where prices go down typically in the late fall and winter. And so this is the beginning of that. But what I'm seeing is that they're dropping a little bit more because we're getting a lot more inventory. And what did I have here? I wanted to show you this, and then I'll take you to what I highlighted for the luxury market, which is a really, really a good indication of what's happening. The national median existing home price in July rose 2% from earlier, but look at this. 434,100 NAR said that's the second highest median price on record, just below 442,000 in June. Prices seem like, okay, well, dang, what's going to happen to prices here? Because you look at that and then you look at this. Look at the title on this one, then I'll scroll back down. Luxury on discount? And this isn't the first time any big news outlet has reported on this. They're reporting all across the US. outside of little pockets. But luxury on discount, Austin's high-end real estate market enters correction as prices fall 10%. Now, I wanted to show you this. These are the 10 only metros where they have luxury prices going down, right? So this is asking prices, but then you have to correlate things. We're in what? July. People put up their home for sale. And if it doesn't sell, and usually luxury lists a lot higher, what happens? They start cutting prices. So of course you start seeing things like this. So don't freak out completely. It's normal. I'm just showing you the details. I live pretty close to Oxnard, about 30 minutes, right? And you look at a lot of these are in California, but take a look at Austin, Massachusetts, San Francisco. I wanted you to see San Francisco because even though it's a negative 8.6, we take a look at some details here. And this is why I want you to pay attention to your local area. So this is what Anthony Smith says there. He's an economist. A drop in home prices typically signals softening demand and an overdue recalibration. But homes in San Francisco are still routinely selling above asking price. Why? Because of the big demand with AI. People are coming in to be contracted, and now some of them are cashing out. So they're looking not only to rent, but they're looking to buy. So it's pushing that market up. But then you take a look at that number at the top, and it's really deceiving, right? Asking prices down in San Francisco, 8.61%. So remember seasonality. Remember summer. If homes aren't selling, maybe they're not desirable enough, or maybe they started really high. And I think this is where you need to pay attention to the details because on top of that, we're actually dealing with inflation. And this is the one I want you to take a picture of. Take a picture of this because CPI is something that we track as a leading indicator. Is it up? Is it down? And it gives you a really great, amazing explanation in these three paragraphs of what it is and what it's tied to. So that you understand when you read it and you hear about it and you're like, well, the Fed's concerned about CPI. What's going on? There it is. I mean, you could go to ChatGPT too, but it's so much easier to read this because it's done. It's like, oh, that was it. That's pretty good, right? So now you start taking a look at the totality of what's going on, and we get a better idea of where we're at with the market. It's not a bad market. It's not a terrible market. Now, you have pockets. You have pockets in Texas, in Florida, and those areas that went up astronomically, right immediately right after COVID, where everybody was moving to. But everywhere else, if it's priced well, it's going to sell. If it's priced just a little bit over, it's going to stay on the market because we are seeing days on market go up now. Average nationally is about 53, 54 days on market. So the challenge is now, as we're getting into a more normal market that we were used to pre-COVID, you need to start having conversations with your sellers. If you take a listing from the very beginning, have conversations with them. Make sure that you routinely check on them every week, every however often you've decided. And I've got this great document I'm going to leave you with because I created this for us so that we can do a better job connecting, staying connected with our clients. I just did a podcast on this, and I know, Simon, you're always listening to this one, so you may have gotten this one a couple of days ago or yesterday, or maybe not, but I've got two here for you. One of them is what I like to call the seller update. Let me show them to you. We got a couple minutes. Seller update is you're going to pick whatever day you're going to want to update people on, and you're going to update them, meaning your sellers. How many showings? What was the online activity? Here's the feedback. Oh, hold on. There it is. Was there competition that moved in or moved out, pending, sold, so forth? What I did this period, because sometimes it's invisible, right? If you don't say anything, they don't know what you're doing. And then what's next? What I need to do and what I need from you. So let me grab this one and then put it into the chat so you have this. And then let me know that you get this one. Let me switch this to everyone. All right, give me a thumbs up if you can open that one. And then I'm going to go back to this other one that we have, and that's the refresh plan, which to me is just as important because you need to have a plan to refresh the listings. Sellers are getting more frustrated faster because they're not used to a normal market where things would take 3, 4, 5, 6 months to sell in a normal market. We're coming out of a market where things would sell in 20 days. So I go through the things that you should be looking to refresh. And and it's not a lot, guys. This you can get this done pretty quick. So let me put this in. There you go. Kimberly, thank you so much. I just put in the second one. I'm going to stop the share on that, give you a few seconds to be able to grab that, open it up, save it, download it, print it, recreate it on your own, do whatever you want. All right, every week, I'm just giving you an update on the market, where we're at nationally. Just remember to look closely because you saw what we saw in San Francisco, where it really isn't a market for buyers, it's a seller's market. But yet we saw negative percentages in asking prices. So local, local, local. I'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.